evolutionists believe that natural selection and mutations together provide the mechanism for the evolutionary process. So let's look at natural selection and mutations. Does natural selection produce design? Life is built on information. A great amount of this information is contained in that molecule of heredity, DNA, which makes up the genes of an organism. Therefore, to argue that natural selection and mutations are the basic mechanisms of the evolutionary process, one must show that these processes produce the information responsible for the design that is evident in living things. Anyone who understands basic biology recognizes, of course, as Darwin did, that natural selection is a logical process that one can observe. However, natural selection only operates on the information that is already contained in the genes. It does not produce new information. Actually, this is consistent with the Bible's account of origins, in that God created distinct kinds of animals and plants, each to reproduce after its own kind. It is true that one can observe great variation within a kind and see the effects of natural selection. For instance, wolves, coyotes, and dingoes have developed over time as a result of natural selection, operating on the information found in the genes of the wolf-dog kind. But the point is that no new information was produced. These varieties of dogs have resulted from a rearrangement, sorting out, and separation of the information in the original dog kind. One kind has never been observed to change into a totally different kind with information that previously did not exist. In our evaluation of evolution, the next question we have to ask is, can mutations produce new information? Actually, scientists now know that the answer is no. Dr. Lee Spetner, a highly qualified scientist who taught information and communication theory at Johns Hopkins University, makes this abundantly clear in his scholarly and thoroughly researched book, Not by Chance. To quote Dr. Spetner, all point mutations that have been studied on the molecular level turn out to reduce the genetic information and not increase it. Dr. Spetner goes on to say, the neo-Darwinians would like us to believe that large evolutionary changes can result from a series of small events if there are enough of them. But if these events all lose information, they can't be the steps in the kind of evolution the neo-Darwinian theory is supposed to explain, no matter how many mutations there are. Whoever thinks macroevolution can be made by mutations that lose information is like the merchant who lost a little money on every sale, but thought he could make it up in volume. Not even one mutation has been observed that adds a little information to the genome. That surely shows that there are not the millions upon millions of potential mutations the theory demands. There may well not be any. The failure to observe even one mutation that adds information is more than just a failure to find support for the theory. It is evidence against the theory. I would say overwhelming evidence, personally. And Dr. Spetner goes on to say, we have a serious challenge to neo-Darwinian theory. Again, I would say much more than a serious challenge. And back to the article, this is also confirmed by Dr. Werner Gitt, a director and professor at the German Federal Institute of Physics and Technology. In answering the question, can new information originate through mutations, he said, this idea is central in representations of evolution, but mutations can only cause changes in existing information. There can be no increase in information, and in general the results are injurious. New blueprints for new functions or new organs cannot arise. Mutations cannot be the source of new creative information. We can therefore conclude that the huge amount of information in living things had to come from an intelligence, one far superior to ours. Please have a look at the link below the video. It takes you to a chapter of a book called the New Answers book from Answers in Genesis, with more on this subject and many other questions about the Bible answered. Thanks for watching and take care.